Okay, good morning everyone. So after the midterm task, the things we're going to do is about music visualizations. And here is the final for this semester. First things, you need to use in Runner Grasshopper to make a music visualization coding. And it sounds crazy and horrible, but actually it's not that hard at all. And so don't worry about that. Follow the tutorial and understand your inner logic, and you will finish that. And another thing is that with the music visualization, we are going to set up a rhino model scenes, including something like a stage design, and you can use in different type of model to design that stage and create a nice view for that. So that's the things we are going to do in the end of this semesters. So first things I want to show you about the music visualization coding inside Rhino Grasshopper. So I think basically the reason why I do this tutorial is because for CAD design classes, I always think it was a assisting class for fundamental design. So basically all the techniques and all the software you have learned in your programming or software classes, you're supposed to use them inside your fundamental design rather than using that kind of, like I would say, template website like Canvas or maybe some material which you can get from the internet. I would say that's fine. It's okay for you to use that, but as a pro designers, well, you cannot always using that kind of things. Otherwise, well, uh, when you are going to take a case or you are going to sell your design work, well, since everyone can use Canvas or the template, why we need to buy your works, right? So that's the reason. I hope you guys can try to use in the techniques which you have learned from the city design class or maybe from another tutorial, yeah, which is more advanced compared to just using template or that kind of package works. So let's take a look at music visualization. Basically, the things we are going to use is Rhino Grasshopper, and another very important thing is Firefly. Firefly is a plugin for Rhino Grasshopper. So with this plugin, we can import our voice, including our value, our rhythm, our frequency into Rhino Grasshopper. So Rhino Grasshopper will interactive with our voice. So you can play a song or do some performance, and the image which you create inside Grasshopper will be interactive with your voice. So that's the thing. And here, basically, Random Grasshopper is a visual script, visual coding. So actually, we don't have to write the code by ourselves, but we need to understand the inner logic. And I would say probably that's the first stage for you to enter the interactive design industry because uh, probably for the first year you are not going to do too many of coding and programming, but when you are going to second years, well, that's something you need to learn and you must to know. Alright, so let's take a look. Probably, for example, this is a label, and we're using Firefly to import our song and also create a geometry inside Rhino Grasshopper. So make this geometry be interactive with our voice. And here is the result. It's not that hard though. So basically, you can see the size of the circle will be interactive with the power of the sound. And also the color will change as well, and that's the parameter and that's the things you can define. Okay, so that's part of sample, and here is another one. Okay, so probably some of you might ask why we don't use in something like the video editing software or maybe VFX software to do that, like something like After Effects, or if another software like a DaVinci Studio, or maybe like Nuke, that's more advanced VFX and post-production software. And the reason why we're using Rhino Grasshopper, the first things I would say for that's the because that's the platform you already know. And second things, the most important things in this project is about interactive. The video part for sure it must be well beautiful, it must be designed, and also it must have some reason inside. So that's the requirement of the video part. But another important thing for you guys to practice is about to using script and and coding to make an interactive design work. And if you're using After Effects, I believe you can make something more cool and beautiful stuff, but it's not interactive and it's not coding at all. You are just using the function and the package things inside After Effects and so that you can do that. And there are a lot of filter and a lot of packaging on the internet, and I know that. But the things I would say for this project, it must be interactive immediately. So which means when you are saying to your laptop, well, the script will be interactive with your voice, and so that you can generate multiple and thousands of different video and the music visualization works. So that's the things I hope you guys can do. And also, Run Grasshopper is, I would say the logic is very strong, so you will totally understand. Well, basically, there's no trick. If you want to draw a circle, there's something parameter you need to define, including the center and also the radius. And also, if you want to change the color, for sure you have to define the RGB. So how can you make all these parameters become together and integrate all of them and make them become a visual script? So that's the point. And once you have this one, you can apply this script to any different files and using them as a basis to create your music visualization coding. Okay, so basically, I would say this one is more for international program student, and for the other students, I would say probably just take this one as an experience and then try to understand the inner logic. I think it will be fun for you as well. Okay, and after we finish that, I need you guys to design a scenes. And basically, that's the last part of the list semester. And I will teach you guys about subdivision modeling. And inside Rhino is very easy, but not very powerful, I would say, compared to Maya and Blender. But it's still fairly okay. So you can use in subdivision modeling and also nerves and all the techniques we have learned before and to design a stage design and combine this one and that one, so it will be your last work of this masters. Okay, so let's take a look of the tutorial today. So before we start the tutorial, first thing you need to go to Firefly. Basically, you can save this website fit for Rhino. For inside Rhino and inside Rhino Grasshopper, uh, all the name of the plugin is animal, like grasshopper, ladybugs, and kangaroo, all these kind of things. It's just like a zoo, and there are a lot of animals living inside. So uh, here, this website contains a lot of different plugins, and Firefly is one of them. And unfortunately, Firefly is relatively old. I think the latest version is around 7 years ago, and they haven't updated anymore. But still you can use them for now. I have tested before, and you can use this one to import different type of interactive functions inside Random Grasshopper. So go to this website and find the latest versions. For me, I think the latest version is right here. You have to check the date. I think it's always the same. And if you are going to learn something more or to download some open source coding or scripting from GitHub, you also need to check the version of the software of the script. So make sure you can understand. So probably For this one, where I'm going to use in 64-bit systems, and also the latest version is 2015. And as far as I can see, it's better for using Rhino 4 and 5 bit, but for now we have already started to use in Rhino 7. So and I have tested this one before, so you can download this one. And once you download this one, go to here, go to where you create the downloading file, double click, and it will be installed. Once you finish your installations, the Rhino Grasshopper, go to Rhino Grasshopper right here, and in the end of the panel, you will see a new panel came out. And this is your plugin, the Firefly right here. Okay, and the things we are going to use is more about the spectrum, so we will take a look of that later. Okay, so that's the things I hope I need you guys to do before we start the tutorial. And another thing I need to remind you, as far as you can see, Rhino Grasshopper Firefly is only for PC platform. There is no versions, there's no type for Mac OS system. And I'd like to give you all the Mac users an advice, because I know that probably you may heard some rumor that designers are supposed to use in Mac OS systems because Mac probably is better or maybe is more intuitive, something like that. But actually, I would say that's only for graphic and the video designer. If you are going to editing video, or if you are going to do some graphic design, yes, Mac OS, because the color correction is better than PC. But if you are going to become the programming designer, like you are going to become a game designer, or maybe you are going to become a CGI industry 3D modeler, 3D VFX artist, PC version is way more better than Mac versions, because Mac is a isolated and closed system, and there are a lot of plugin and open source resource you cannot use on PC. I'm sorry, on Mac systems. So probably maybe next semester or next semester, when you are going to second years in a school, when you are going to learn Unity systems, you need to find a PC so that you can install your Unity. So for now, I would say there's two options for you. First thing is you can use in the PC, in the computer classroom. Install that one, and don't forget to bring your earphone and one speaker, and also your USB storage so that you can save your file. And so that's one way. And another way is that you can borrow a laptop from your friend and using that one to as a practice to do your work. And that's something you need to solve, okay? And I would say as a programming designer, or let's say as a designer who uses laptop and software very often, you need to figure out how to solve your hardware problems. Okay, just don't just stay there and tell me that, well, I cannot save the file. It's already past help semester. You need to, I think it's time for you to find the solutions. Okay, so that's the things. Download this one and install. And for Mac OS system, you can just choose in PC, using the PC inside Classroom to install your software and also to install the Firefly. So that's the thing I hope you guys can do. Okay, so once you finish, you will see the Firefly right here, and then we can start the tutorial for today.